you ever felt.
Are you listening?
So we picked this old 046 or 03, 04, 060, and she needs an HPOP. We've come to the conclusion, we air pressure tested it to the, I don't know, ICP or IPR, one of them. And it was leaking out of the air out of the oil filter. So that means your HPOP is bad. So I'm pulling the HPOP out of this. I'm gonna pull the HPOP out of the blown up 6.0. It's got two holes in the side of the motor. And I'm gonna put it in this one. And I pulled the HPOP out, which it's in the shed thing-madoober right now. But let me turn the flashlight on and show you all these metal chunks that are in this thing. So in here, your HPOP is back here. It sits right here, right underneath of this thing, and it's driven by that gear back there and pumps oil. There's chunks of metal. I don't even know what they came from. I'm gonna guess. And look how fricked up the cam is. It is all messed up. This motor is definitely junk. But I'll have it running sometime. After I sell my side-by-side, should have some money to buy a motor and some stuff. But I'm gonna pull the turbo off of this. So on the 03 model, they got a manifold, intake manifold that goes around the back. So I'm probably gonna have to pull the intake off too, which is gonna suck, but whatever. So you pull your intercooler tubes off, both sides, your whatever bottle they call that. Move your fickum out of the way, all that stuff. And if you pull your manifold, you gotta, this is your manifold, this piece right here. And if you pull that, you gotta pull your oil filter housing and fuel filter housing, which is gonna suck, because I didn't have to do that to the mud truck. Look how tiny these tires are. But so these are roll around / tug of war tires, and it looks goofy. So the turbo has 3 bolts. It's got one down here. Oh, look, it's already loose for me. One over here, which looks to be loose already for me too. And there's one in the back. I don't know if you can see, but there's supposed to be one in the back. I don't think it's there. You unplug this sensor right here, undo all those bolts, undo both of these, and take a air hammer and stick it on the turbo side and just, and it makes them both pop off. Then you can pull your turbo. So now you pull the turbo off. You pull your stand, turbo stand off, your turbo plug a thing of doober, and you unplug your plugs, whatever. Now I got to pull the manifold off. I pulled the alternator off, just 3 13 millimeters, 10 millimeter in the plug. And then you just unplug your plugs and take that manifold off. I went ahead and unplugged all the injectors on that side and the plugs to this, whatever these ones go to. I think it's back of the manifold, fickum, and yeah, that's all that. And then you got your blah blah blah. Now I'm going to remove the oil bowl, oil filter bowl, and fuel filter housing. And I think then you unbolt the manifold. I don't really know. Okay, so after you pop your fuel lines off, and I don't know, some are 18s and some are 21s, and you pop those off on this side, or one back here, one right here, and one right here, and one right here. After you pop them off, you take a T45, and there's a bolt, or one there, and one down there. You unscrew all of them and it should come off oil filter housing and fuel filter housing. There's 2 on this side. There's one down there. Focus. One down there and one right there. So you take and pop your wires over top of this. I don't know if that's where they're supposed to go or not, but they're right here. So you take and pop them off, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts, and it pops off. And the filter and everything's right there. Probably should take the filter out. Okay. Ugh. Once you remove your bowls, take a 15 millimeter short on a little 3-inch extension, and there's two fan shroud bolts on each side that suck pretty bad, but you just get a little adjustable, or where's it at? Oh, right here. Your swivel head, or whatever they call that, ratchet. Break them loose and you can turn them by hand. So when you take your manifold off, there's a bunch of 10 millimeters along the holes, and there's some that have studs. So just remember which hole has the stud on it and put them back in the same place. Like for me, I got one here and here, and then there's one that goes back here, and I think that's it. There's another one down here, but I don't know if I have to take that off or not. I don't think I do. But other than that, figure out which bolts come off. I had to ratchet strap my exhaust over off of the reservoir, and just so I can get that bolt over there because it was on top of it. I'm not sure how I'm gonna get the manifold off with that right there, but I'm gonna try. Other than that, you just remove all them and it should come off. Okay, I got the intake off. There was a bolt here that's usually folded down. Fuel line bolt. Those two bolts for the, if you have your EGR right here, there was those two bolts you had to take off. And then you had to move the wires around and stuff, and I took the fan shroud, alternator cover, whatever that thing is, this stupid thing, off, and it came right out. Now you take and remove all your bolts. They're not an 8 millimeter, they're a 5/16. 5/16 on a 3-inch extension. They're on the side, and there's one behind that thingamajigger, but there's none in the back. Okay, after you remove all your bolts, there's a bolt under here that you have to get with a wrench, and it sucks. Then you tap it with a hammer, rubber mallet. I had to go get a mini sledge and kind of just tap the edges till it came loose. And then you can just pick it up and it comes out. I went and put it in the shed, but it just pops off, and then you got your stuff right there. This is your high pressure oil pump. I took the one out of the mud truck. It's already out and ready to go in. So just gotta put it in, put it all back together. So you take and unbolt these 3 5/16 bolts, move them over there, and then there's 10 millimeters, 3 of them you take off, and then it pops. This is what a bad pump looks like. If you look inside, part of the gasket has came up. Oh, I can't see where it's at now. Right there. Here's the lip. You'll see the lip. That's how you know it's a bad HPOP. So I got it all back together, manifold on, and we got new manifold gaskets, and the EGR bolted down, the clamp adjusted to where I could actually put it on with the impact. Slipped on. Throw your wires back over, plug them in, and then clean up your oil tube. This goes for your turbo oil that goes sitting right there somewhere top of your turbo. Alternator wires, alternator belt, all that stuff. Turbo's on, intercooler's on, bowl's on, wires are connected, alternator's back on. There's a 1/2-inch thingamajigger where you can put a ratchet on and pull the belt. Pick'em's on. There's some other odds and ends. There's the ground back there and back there that you gotta put on. Make sure your turbo drains all the way on, and check it after you get your turbo on, because mine was disconnected. Make sure all your plugs are plugged in and clipped. Make sure your mass airflow is plugged in. I forget what else. Oh, and then, I don't know, turn it on. Shut it off, go get the can of brake cleaner fired up.